Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. Hello. Murthy, sir. Sir, can you please unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Right.
Star video.
Yeah, please, can you turn on your video, sir?
Okay, I did that.
Yes, sir. It's all right. Perfect, sir.
Yes.
Sir, good evening, sir. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Share. Okay. Shall I put the slide on?
Sir, we will share after 5 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Sir will be there for 5 minutes, then after that we can start.
Okay. Not a problem. I'm right here.
Thank you. How are you doing, sir?
You're doing good. How did your day go?
Yeah, it's going well, sir.
Just starting it, right? You're just starting at 10
starting
o'clock.
about,
Okay. For me, it's already gone. Okay.
January.
There's a big difference.
Just a second.
Good day, Dr. Nasimamurthy. Good day. This is Manchkar Srinivas from GVP,
Hello,
Visakhapatnam.
sir.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
You came for the BRTS conference, right? The one which
Yes, yes.
I remember you.
Yeah, 2008, I think.
Yeah, 2008. The manual which you gave presented is also passed on to my colleagues and my students also.
I see. Very good.
Nice to see you. I mean, after very, very long time.
Yes, it's almost 13 years.
I'm so pleased to see you.
Yes, I am also glad to know there is somebody
After a
there
long
on the other
time.
side who knows
Thanks to
me.
Dr. Girish that we were able to meet, online.
Yes, sir. So now you can share the screen, sir. Modi sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Perfect, sir. We'll start in 2 minutes, sir.
No. You take your time. No rush. Gives little more time. There is nothing wrong with that. There's no need to rush. I got time for you guys. So I understand all this. So not a problem.
Because I was thinking you have to have your dinner also.
That's okay. Can you give me an idea about the location of the school compared to any big city?
We have Vijayawada. Do you have an idea of this West Godavari, sir? West Godavari in Andhra Pradesh?
No. I'll be very honest with you. You have to give me some big city's name and something like 350 kilometer, 250 kilometer to the east, west, south, north, northeast.
Maybe Rajahmundry and Vijayawada to this.
Vijayawada, I know. I passed through Vijayawada on my way to Kanpur.
So it's hardly 3 hours journey from there.
Okay. That I get an idea because Vijayawada is supposed to be a hot place. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Summer?
Yes.
Because I was going for my IIT exam after my bachelor's. From Madras, I passed through Vijayawada and then to Kanpur. So
That
that's
would be
why I
a great
remembered
step,
that. Remember that station, 1977, long way back. Audio is okay, right?
Audio and video is fine, sir. Perfect, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure of that. The program in 2008 was excellent.
Yeah. The 2008 conference was really kind of blockbuster.
Yes, it was
Thanks to
nice.
you and many other people, who
Yeah.
from the United States of America, who
Yeah.
made it to the conference. It was really good.
James
all the,
Simpson was the director.
True, exactly. James Simpson.
Mr.
Yes.
James Simpson, he was the FTA
It was really
director.
good.
Very nice person.
Good. True.
And your
It was a
cultural
big.
program. Go ahead, I'll listen to you.
Please.
Your cultural program was excellent in the evening. Can never forget that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. But then it was a gathering of all the, you could say, the who's who of the transportation industry.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So Mr. Simpson, all great people. HMRL director.
And also we met your,
It was really.
the unfortunate thing that he passed away, your chief minister.
Okay.
We did go and meet him. It was an unfortunate thing we heard after a few, 1 year or 6 months or something like that. So it was a very unfortunate incident. So.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a very progressive chief minister. Whoever,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
trying to remember the name, but he was a very progressive person.
Chandrababu Naidu.
Yeah, yes, very, very progressive person he was.
We had people who embark also. Embark that
Yes,
time.
yes, you're right. Yes, that they
WRI.
were just started the metro lines at that time. They were just putting the foundations along some of the roads. So.
But the BRTS really didn't take off in Visakhapatnam. It didn't really take off.
Yeah, but there are many factors attached to that. So no public transit will work with, it is a lot of effort. People think public transit will just work if you put it there. It has to be worked very, very, very much with all the trip generation and all the other kinds of things and all the facilities, reliability. See, if we can provide the reliability, then people will start using public transit. That's the key thing that has to be there with public transit. There is no reliability, then people will drop it, even if it costs them money to go by other private ways of going. So that's the key thing that public transit has to learn. See, Delhi Metro is a hit. The only reason being, you are at 8:30 a.m. train, it is there at 8:29. So you will not miss the airport.
Yes, yes.
By that metro train. So that's why you can see the load in New Delhi for metro. Reliability
That's
is
the
the
problem,
key
actually.
for is the key to public transit.
True. The public transit has been, even though we have different modes of public transport in the country, having said that, they've always been overloaded, and the mode share and all have to be really worked out in a proper systematic and scientific way. We just have different modes of transport. But having said that, the mode share analysis, it's like, it should not be like fill it, shut it, and forget it. That's
No,
what I'm
it is
trying to say.
it's a dynamic thing. You see,
Yeah.
I work for the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which is the second largest public transit agency in the United States. And we run 2,300 buses in the morning, starting at 4 a.m. And in the PM period, we start at 2:30 and run it till 7:30 with 4,200 buses. So there is a constant modeling that is done by the systems analysis group in order to see what is happening with 10 or 12 lines with different modes. How is it shifting? Where should we put our lines? What are the distances between bus stops? What kind of loading? What time should we start, not start? So it's every day. So there has to be a group of people who are sitting and doing the system analysis for the public transit, and not just have some people just having a schedule in their hand. It doesn't work like that.
Sir, let us start the program, sir.
Sure. Thank you.
Sir, once again, a very good morning to one and all, and we welcome you once again to this one week online international student and faculty development program on role of transportation engineers towards sustainable roads and traffic safety. So we are on day 5 with our speaker, Dr. Natsimamurthy sir. So I take this privilege to ask my faculty coordinator to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Murthy sir. Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. A very good morning to one and all. I'm Manasa, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, SVCW. Today, I feel very privileged to introduce our guest and speaker of today's session, Dr. Natsimamurthy Garu. Coming to his brief introduction, Dr. Murthy holds a PhD in Transportation Engineering from Concordia University, Montreal, Canada. He is a registered professional traffic engineer in the state of California. Also, he holds certificates from the University of Irvine, California on air quality management from the South California Air Quality Management District. And also he holds a certificate of the Employee Transportation Coordinator, that is ETC. Dr. Murthy had an overall experience in the field of transportation for over 30 years. This includes his experience in private sector as a consultant, public agency, and he is also the president of Murthy Transportation Consultants Incorporated. He participated in several major transportation projects in the areas of transportation planning, traffic engineering, urban planning, freight planning, transit planning, traffic simulation, traffic demand forecasting, and intelligent transport system, that is ITS. He was selected by the Transportation Research Board, TRB, to assist as a panel member on research projects on the Highway Capacity Manual, that is HCM, and to develop the unsignalized intersection guidebook by the National Council for Highway Research. He also delivered many lectures, workshops, and seminars in the same field. In addition to his academic qualifications, he has published over 25 technical papers in various fields of transportation, which were already stated. Also, he has co-authored a text titled Transportation Engineering Basics, second edition, published by the American Society of Civil Engineers, that is ASCE. Dr. Murthy, as a delegate, traveled to India with the Federal Transit Authority FTA Director Mr. James Simpson, who visited several major cities in India and presented technical paper on BRT at Hyderabad. Los Angeles Public Health Department assisted in developing 2 chapters for the Complete Streets Manual titled Model Street Design Manual. Prior to all these things, he has an all-round grasp of the technical, financial, and legal frameworks of the transportation field and assess in the project success. With this brief introduction, I'd like to call him upon the virtual platform. So please take your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And good morning to everyone who is participating in this meeting or seminar. As I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And I'm also very proud that we now, after I left India in 1980, September, and almost 40 years to date, that we have now a women's engineering college. I really applaud that and very grateful to be given this opportunity today. As I told in the introduction, that I have been very lucky in a sense to work with very good bosses or managers, as you can say, project managers, and also with people. Several people I have worked with. I worked around the globe, and I have met many different staff and different types of management and different type of transportation project. But the most important thing that before I go into my seminar will be that I just want to tell you, all of those who are listening, please be aware of what you are doing every day with regard to the transportation elements, because it's a very important thing. Whatever you do in transportation has, just because it does not like a building collapsing or a bridge collapsing or something like that, you don't see the impact of it, but you do see that any accident that is fatal is kind of part of our work that we do. What kind of safety we provide and how we manage the traffic, that's the most important thing. So whoever, those who are listening, who go into transportation planning, traffic engineering, intelligent transportation system, whatever area that you go into, but pay attention to what you're doing, because it's very important that whatever we do has got something to do with somebody's safety on the roads or highways or whatever we are trying to build. Okay, so with that, today's topic we have is traffic management and road safety. What I'm going to go through is I'll give you a little bit of introduction about road safety and traffic management, then the objectives of traffic management and roads, and how do we do junction improvements. As you know that all the roads, one way or the other, intersect and we have got junctions, so they need to be improved. Then I'll also provide you how it was before and after. This is one thing you all should learn when you are studying. Wherever you go, start recording. Since you got the smartphones nowadays, if you go to the site, make sure that you do take some pictures before you do your projects, so that you have the before and you can compare it to the after. It's very important. One more thing I want to tell you is do not transportation, any element of that you can sit at an office and do your work. You cannot. You have to be a person going outside and seeing what is there on the field and then doing the work. Never assume that you get a good job in some consultant firm and you sit behind a table and then just trying to do whatever you learned in the school is not going to help you in any way. So you being a transportation engineer or a traffic engineer, whatever you want to be, you have to be on the site and understand what is going on there, because all the actions are outside the building. Okay. And then I'll go into deep. That is something that I always wanted to do. I'll go over that. It's just driver education and the enlightenment program, because it is part of the safety. What do we learn in the class? How do we transform it practically? That is the whole idea behind deep. How could we save lives with what we have learned, the knowledge that we have on education? How can we change things? Then I'll just give you a simple next steps that most of you are listening who want to be something tomorrow, how you can contribute not only to our subject, to the community that you all belong to, and any question and answer at the end. Okay. Well, let us take the big picture. The big picture is main reason for accidents are faulty road engineering. Okay, that we always can fix it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. How do we all the roads meet at intersections? How do we engineer them? How do we build the roads? How many lanes are to be there? How many lanes to feed? How many lanes to come in? All these things. And along with that, we have the signage and the road markings, which is very important that one has to learn about it. So our minister is saying the same thing. What is the impact of the amended Motor Vehicle Act? But I was there for a year last year. That is from April 2019 to April 2020. But unfortunately, even though that motor vehicle thing, the new one was passed, I did not see any enforcement actually happening. And also I read a little bit about the news that some of the states were fighting to either make it less or more or whatever they want to do. But still, it's very important that enforcement is part of the big picture. And it is a very sad thing that when you see this slide that you have 1% of the world vehicles, but we account for 10% of the global crash victims. That's why I said in the very beginning, if you are going to be in the transportation field, you have to dedicate yourself to understand the basic things, the concepts, and how you are going to use it practically outside. That's the reason I said you have to be outside the building, not sitting inside a room and saying this could be done, that could be done. That's not going to help anybody. You have to visit the site and understand and see what was the reason for the cause of the accident. What can we do to make it better? And there are many methods. If you just look at the pedestrian improvement that one could do, there's a big book of almost 530 pages. You may wonder what is written in that, but you'll be surprised to see the different types of treatment that will be required in order to make safety for pedestrians. So just seeing the sad situation of this 1% of the world using 1% of the vehicles and having 10% of global crash is a very sad thing. I hope most of you are listening and want to be in this transportation field will dedicate yourself to improve things. This is just to show in a graphical form what is happening. As we expected, the major accidents are taking due to speed. Okay, the blue thing that you see, the big blue, is due to speed, and others have caused about 25%, but driving on the wrong side, jumping red light. Jumping red light is actually, I'm surprised it's showing only 1% here, but I have witnessed directly people jumping red light all the time. So maybe lucky that not many accidents are registered on this. Well, let us really talk about why traffic management and road safety is so important. In India, almost 380 to 400 people die every day. Okay, which is very sad, as you saw that 1% to 10%. That is almost equivalent to a jumbo jet with 380 to 400 people crashing every day. Would we have let jumbo jets fall every day from the sky? We would have definitely not. But for whatever odd reason, we let these accidents happen day in and day out in the country, which somehow we have to put our efforts as civil engineers, our branch being transportation and traffic engineering. We need to put the effort to minimize as much as possible the impact of it. So that's why I asked the question, would we allow this to happen, a jumbo jet to fall each day from the sky? No, we would not. But everybody is silent mostly. Yes, there are some improvements being made, things are being built, many highways are being built and everything, but yet we are very, very silent if you carefully look at it. This is jumping the red light. We saw that 1% of the accidents happen at jumping the red light. This happened as I was in the opposite side of the lanes, and this happened right in front of me. I was able to take a picture in Jammu. The yellow motorcycle that you see here was hit by this car guy. He jumped the red light as these people were making the left turn. So it is very common that people jump red light and don't show any respect to the traffic laws. It's very important that you pay attention to traffic laws, because after the incidents, either injuring somebody severely or taking their life is not something that you should go through, because it's got a very huge psychological impact on you as well as the family that lost the person, or the person who got handicapped because of our speeding or not obeying the traffic laws. It's very important that, I hope, being in the engineering college, all of you would pay attention to, and not only pay attention, also respect the traffic laws that are in effect, please. And this also happens, most of the people in India, there are lots of roundabouts around, and nobody wants to go through the complete roundabout to make a left turn or this one. What they do, they come right across you through the roundabout. And I was at the site, as I said before, being at the site is very important. As I was surveying this area in Jammu for improvements at the junction, this incident happened. The poor guy who got injured, he's being treated there. So now let us talk about how can locally we can go and select some, let's say we for example, wherever this college is there, as an exercise, you can choose 10 major intersections that have got problems. You can list them out, and that could be something like a group of people, students joining together and trying to make these improvements and presenting their results. Something like that can be done. So that's why I'm trying to help you how you can understand the traffic management and the road safety aspects of it. We'll go through selection of intersections. What do we need? Topography, conceptual drawing plans, work with concerned agencies, and try to provide the final design and drawings for tender. That's the key thing. The last one is where you have the final drawings that are approved by the local agencies, and we are able to put it for tender and construction. So when you go to the site, what are we looking at? We had to look at how wide the intersections. You need to take all the topographical information through a survey, okay? Then you have to look at, are there illegal parking around? I would say that more or less 90% of the places there have been illegal parking, most of the places, but you need to make a note of that. And are there lane markings or channelizations? What about enforcement of that? What kind of traffic control do you have? Is it a stop sign? Is it signalized? What is it? Is it yield? What kind of traffic control is there? Intersection control is there? And then, is there any need for traffic calming? Are there any schools nearby? Are there too many pedestrians walking around? What kind of traffic calming should we do? And are there regulatory signs anywhere? You know, you got to downgrade, you got to upgrade. What are the things, signs that are there? And then also, are the people following the laws there? For example, like I said at the roundabout, if you are on a site and watch the roundabout, are people following the laws of the roundabout? What is happening there? And objectives. What's the whole idea of doing this traffic management and road safety? Removal of vehicular and pedestrian conflicts. As you can see that, I don't know how many of you some general knowledge with regard to how many conflicts that could happen at a 3x3 road intersection. You have almost 64 conflicts points at an intersection. If the major intersection, you have got 64 with pedestrians, vehicles, left turns, right turns, throughs, and everything happening. There are more than close to 64 conflicts could happen. So one has to keep an eye on that. How do you do? That's why in major intersections, you try to provide traffic signal to confront these and provide solution for the intersections. Okay, the major intersection should always have traffic signals so that you can reduce the number of conflict points. And provision of lanes for turning lanes. There are turning lanes. Not many of them are marked properly for left turns and right turns. So those are important things that you need to do because it impacts. One should understand capacity and what it means to have level of service at intersections. When we do traffic studies in the US, we have to go through all the level of service and the capacity and intersections and trip generation and parking generation. No development is approved without a certified traffic engineer's signature on a traffic impact analysis or traffic impact study. It's very important. That's how most of the intersections are improved, by collecting money from the developers in order to make the changes that's been recommended by the traffic engineer. Then provision of channels, medians, and directional movements, very important. Then if you continue on the same thing with regard to the objectives, you have to see the right of way. It could be a new intersection, it could be a new development area. So you need to have not only the topographical survey completely, plus what kind of right of way you have, how many lanes can you provide, how many through lanes, how many left turns, how many right turns, depending on the volume of traffic. Of course, collecting traffic volume data is one of the key things, including vehicle classification counts. Then you have to understand, like, I hope the library could have some highway capacity manuals and things so you can understand all the different sections that deal with intersections with regard to service level of service, service flow, and all these different things. You could understand why it is necessary to do all these exercises. And what's the goal? To provide better mobility. Okay. What happens is, when you design the junctions properly, it has impact on the energy that is used locally and also on the pollution. When we talk about energy, you know that India imports a lot of fuel and you're paying through your nose for the petrol. And just saw a news item on petrol that even though it costs only 25 paise for the government, you are paying nearly 62 to 65 more paise as taxes, apart from what you are paying income tax and other taxes that you are paying for whatever you are purchasing. So the cost of travel is very, very high. From 25 paise a liter is now 95 paise or whatever you are paying there. That's a lot of impact. So it's better to have efficient road system so that you can reduce the energy that you use. Every time you accelerate and decelerate your vehicle, you are losing fuel. Okay, that's the way it is. And pollution. Let's talk a little bit about, try to understand why proper improvement should be made. Pollution, what does it do? It impacts your health. Okay, whose health? Particularly the health of elders and children, because elders have lost the capacity in their lungs and everything, and the younger children are yet to develop their lungs. So with pollution, with carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide, and some of the petroleum products also give sulfur dioxide. All these combined, over time, you are impacted and the health risks increase. The health risk increase means health costs improve. What happens? It adds to the inflation. So we have to understand why something that we do is important. That's the key thing to understand. You have to understand it. All these things are there, but simply looking at an intersection and looking at it barely doesn't give you any sense of what our field, transportation engineering, really means to. Okay. And most important, you have to improve the citizens' quality of life. Quality of life. You feel safe enough to go to the road or go to the nearby park or send your children to the nearby park. You feel safe that they will come back home. So all these are called quality of life. You have less pollution, very important in the area that you live. So all these are included when you do traffic management and road safety. Along with that, all these elements have to be considered. Let's move on. When we are doing this improvements to roads and geometric improvements at the intersection, we should not forget the lower class or lower vendors and people like that in our analysis. What happens is we forget in most of the cities in India, and even in other countries also, there are vendors around these major intersections. So we need to find a solution for them. We should talk to the local agency and find some nearby open space that the government owns so that these vendors can be put. I'm talking about major roads and major intersections improvement. Yes, if you got secondary roads and local roads, you don't have to worry so much about it. But as far as the mobility is concerned for the city, you need to worry about the vendor zone, to create a vendor zone, a parking zone for scooters and cars, and parking structures to be built, and use of ITS, intelligent transportation system, like the CMS, video and everything can be put there. And the school zones, you have to pay attention to school zones because there are many children going around and their span of attention is very small. How do we make sure that we build proper intersections where people they can cross, and how do we do signal timings that provide sufficient time for the elderly and the school children to cross? All these elements you have to understand in trying to do traffic management and road safety. And this is just to gives you an idea of all the benefits. As I already explained to you, the benefits are many benefits are there, but the most important thing is we make sure the mobility is there, safety is there, and pollution is reduced and energy costs are reduced. Other than that, the value of quality of life will improve, and the value of the land nearby also will improve. If you have a very well built what you call nowadays, they call it Silicon Valley and all these different software companies coming and all these things. So how do you increase the value of that area? If you got very good mobility and very good intersections, very good roads and parking and everything, of course, the land value will go up 10 times. Okay. Then there is another complete area one might like to go through is the transit oriented development, which is the biggest thing that has happened in the last 5 years. From 10 years back, this urban development and urban improvements started, and most of the things that were being done with regard to the vehicles stopped, and how do we make it better for the people to use our roadway facilities. So there was a change in concept about 10 to 12 years back. And what do we do with the traffic management and road safety? We could have speed humps, and we will have to provide the traffic right type of traffic control, traffic signal, roundabout, or stop signs, whatever is required. And the tabletop crossing is very important, that on major roads we mark it properly so that people can see it from far. Then the signs, channelization and lane markings is very important. So it is, one could do an exercise by just taking a length of 2 miles or 4 miles of a good road and trying to see how many signs are there, how many channelizations are there, what are the problems, and one could write about it and see what the best way to treat. That's how you learn what are the different methods that you can use and how you can improve the road safety and also manage the traffic. And then let's go through some examples. How do we do it? When I was last year in India, I was just asked by the Chief Minister's office. We have got some major intersections that are so bad that people almost waste 30 minutes at their intersections, waiting in line just to pass through the intersection, not even going anywhere. just spending so much. This was one such kind of an intersection. It's called Kadu Bisanahalli Junction in Bangalore. When I went to the site, I'm just telling you the steps that you should follow when you go to the junction. Okay, take a good picture. This is from the Google. I took it from the Google map, but I went to the intersection and saw what the problem. You see how large the entire intersection is, very large intersection. Then you have got secondary road crossing. In between, you have got the highway. Right below underground is the highway. This is the road on the top, and you have the highway below. So there are ramps leading into both directions and the traffic that is following. But believe it or not, this area is surrounded by almost 500 to 600 organizations from the software company. So whoever allowed it to happen, they did not think about the traffic impact. That's why I was telling you before, in the US, you cannot have any development without a traffic impact study or a traffic impact analysis. Without that, and plus, if the larger trip generation is more than 50, you have to have an environmental impact report with the traffic section to prove that the impacts will be mitigated. Unfortunately, it's yet to come here. But apart from that, let us focus on how you guys from the engineering college can learn and try to make improvements to your local intersections and wherever you go to work. So we go, this is the intersection, it's a major intersections. What did I see there? That's the important thing. You have to make a note of what was observed there. You had to walk around the intersections during the peak period. Note that you had to go at the peak period, you had to go at the off peak period, at the AM peak period you had to go at the midday peak period, you had to go at the off peak period, and also the PM peak period if it's a major intersection, so that you do try to understand what are the changes in the direction of flow of traffic. What is an AM left turn can become a PM right turn. So you need to understand, is that happening there? Then if it doesn't happen, where did the traffic go? Are they using any alternatives? Okay. So at this particular junction, it's a very large volume of traffic, over 2,000 to 2,500 vehicles per hour, leading to major routes in the city. Like I said, the highways are underground there. So there are ramps leading into those highways. And there were no pedestrian crossing at all. People were randomly crossing across. And like I told you, all the software companies surrounded by trip generation land users and major thoroughfare and signs and traffic calming elements needed, but none existed there. Then peak, only they had police at the PM peak period. That is around 4 or 4:30. There were about, almost believe it or not, there were about 6 to 7 police trying to control the traffic at this intersection. It's so wide. There were about 6 to 7 police talking to each other and trying to let the traffic go through. But what I found was the entire intersection needs to be redesigned as developed. So what did we do? We also, when I was there, I took some of the pictures. You can see that completely uncontrolled intersection, people coming in any direction they want to and trying to go based on the policeman's instructions or signs. Okay, let's go slowly now. Now this intersection topography was taken, and now first thing that you should focus is intersection controls. How do we make this intersection better? To make this better, first we have to understand what is the right of way we have and what are the things that we can do. Where do we need a median? Where do we have open spaces that should be controlled? And where do we put roundabout for the time being? Even though you can substitute these roundabouts with a signal. You probably will need either a 6-phase signal or a 8-phase signal, because there are, as you can see, the red lines showing you the various movements that are happening here. So the first thing you have to do is you have to draw a intersection control. Where are the spaces? What are the spaces that are abundant that need to be avoided, where we don't allow the traffic to come? And how do we provide the median? See, this is actually a very minor secondary road that is crossing a major intersection. So we have to make sure that we provide timings for these people also, but majority of the 70% of the traffic signal time will be taken by this, or if you allow use any other method, you need to provide most of the traffic to go through the main route. The second thing that you should think about it, oh, as I told you, there were no pedestrian crossings here at all. People were just crossing randomly everywhere, zigzag, whatever way pattern you think about, people were crossing. So then you have to, after you do the intersection control, then you step into pedestrian treatment. How do we make this better for pedestrians? So you need to have a separate drawing, understand the site, take pictures, sit in your office and try to work with the CAD people to develop the pedestrian treatment. The third thing is the signage, and even though I call it fine boards, this is something I thought is something very much necessary in India to control the, what do you call, the not obeying the traffic laws. I think fines are something that the government has to look into deeply at every intersection, major intersection, put the amount of money that if people don't obey the particular thing, like red light crossing is 5,000 rupees, I saw in the new motor vehicle thing, that should be put there in the intersection. So at least they cannot say, I don't know about it. They should not be saying that. So at least putting signs of the fine boards at the intersection will be something that I don't know how the policies are made, or who may, IRC might, what is that? I think I'm correct. IRC may have to do the deliberations in order to approve the signs, but signs are a very good thing to make people behave properly with traffic laws. And when you design it, you have the pedestrian crossings here, you have the median here, and this is the barricade. You see the center one, you need to have barricade because people cross anywhere and everywhere at major intersections. So we need to avoid that happening. What does this random walking across or jaywalking does to our vendors passing through your intersections with their small hand carts and all this? What does it do to you? If you understand the basic concept, it's every lane has a capacity. So what is happening to the capacity? The capacity is reduced. You're not getting the capacity. You're getting only about 30% of the capacity. The rest is being just swallowed by the pedestrians and the vendors and other people crossing anywhere and everywhere. So that's one of the reasons why you don't have a good mobility. Now you can follow the traffic signals that are put all across India now. They have purchased they spent a lot of money putting ITS and traffic signals, but the capacity is completely reduced and you cannot even use what is being put on the intersection. So I just thought that one could have a fine zone. If you come into this area, that is crossing the pedestrian cross and then coming here, there should be a fine that is posted here already that says what is it going to cost him. If he's going to just cross the pedestrian crossing line and park here and wait. You must have seen that, most of you must have observed in most of the major intersections, everybody crosses into the zones. They should not be there. They are not behind the pedestrian crossing bars. Then I know that a lot of improvements are being made through smart cities across India. Over 110 to 120 cities are being improved. But the concept of smart road, you need to understand it. It can be actually be taught in the class also. What is the concept of smart road? What does it mean actually? But the basic thing that you have to understand in a smart road is you try to put most of the utility underground so that you have a much better vision, and restrictions are not for pedestrians. What we mean by that is there are no furnitures across the footpath that people are going to walk, and you have better medians and also better control of your utilities. Even when it comes to repairing and things like that, the concept of smart road will help very much. For example, in Patna, they have built some smart roads near the airport and all, where literally a person can walk through the smart road car channel and fix electrical and water and sewage. All three can be taken care of if there is any problem. So they don't have to dig again and again for doing the repair work on the roads. You must have seen that most of the roads are just dug up when there's a water leak or something some damage happens, and they don't even compact it properly and go away. So that's a big taking away the of the road. Vehicle before it crosses that particular place where somebody has dug out the road. So smart roads is a very important part, and most of the smart cities have been allocated with the money to do the smart roads. And when I talked about when you design an intersection, or major intersection at least, you need to think about pedestrian barrier. You must avoid the pedestrian spilling into the roadway. So all across the intersection, all the four legs, you need to provide the pedestrian barrier as well as in the median, so that people do not cross anywhere and everywhere. Very important. That is to maintain the capacity and also safety of the pedestrians. And the median barrier is very important. And if you have going to have bus stops on these roads, make sure that you provide a refuge for the buses so that they don't take up the capacity of the lanes. Okay, if wherever possible, at least try to find spots for buses to have extra room so that they can park properly. And this is this just in one of the sites I was visiting in India. The police actually leave this kind of things, barriers right in front of the bus stop. Where will the bus stop guys stop? And not only that, it forms an obstruction to the people using the road and reduces the capacity. So we need to just watch for all this and advise the local police authority that such things should not be done. And also you must have seen that most of the major intersections have some kind of a police shelter. I would say that you need to redesign this police shelter away from the intersection so that it is not a big side distance. People seem to forget about side distance. Huge roundabouts are built where there is no side distance at all. You don't even know what is on the other side of the roundabout. There is a huge statue in the middle, or some kind of some form of some local thing is there, and you don't even know as you go around the roundabout, you don't know who is where. So designing roundabouts with proper height is very important so that people can see where they are driving and who is coming in the other direction. And let us take another example. This is just to understand how we redesign intersections. This is in Jammu. This was called Shakuntala Junction. As you can see, you got a main road here and a main road there, but there was a small road that was going to a medical college up here, somewhere here. So people had just opened up a small part of the road and they were going across and then joining this road. I mean, they were literally driving opposite to the road. So one has to, only by going to the site, you can see all these things. And not only that, you can see here, somebody just crossing right through this passage. So, and this is the one I was talking about where they go to the medical college, but they are using this path to get into this. But you got a major highway, national highway running across here, which is not proper. So what do we do with it? So we did the complete, you can see how the existing plan was at the Shakuntala Junction. You can see this opening here. We closed that opening and we made entire improvements to the full junction, including providing a bus stop here, which has got a complete bus stop as I described to you, so that it does not take up the capacity, and also made sure there are road humps put at proper places so that speeding vehicles on this highway do see that there is a bus stop and pedestrian crossings. Okay, so it's important that when you do these things, when you do major improvements, you have to pay attention to the pedestrians, to the bus stops, parking, as well as channelization. and speed humps if necessary, or at least make sure you provide humps where they are marked properly. And this is another major intersection. What I want to show you was, this is another major intersection, but the important thing I want to show you was we did provide for vendors. You remember I did talk about, you should not forget the people who are making a living as vendors. So if wherever we can find some space, we should provide vendor zone. Right here, we provided vendor zone for them and made all the improvements, and the police shelter, which was right here, was moved away into this area, and improvements of this type should be taken care of. So the entire intersection was redesigned. This is as part of the Jammu Smart City project. And another thing that sometimes happens is, sometimes you have intersections that are close by. How do we handle that? There is one intersection here and one intersection here. How do we manage them? When you have closely spaced intersections, you have to do improvements for both the intersections so that the traffic mobility is not restricted by one or the other. You want a continuous flow of traffic through these two junctions. This is just to show you how these intersections were located. Well, let's come back now that you have some idea about what road improvements can be done, how traffic management should be done, how do we use channelization, how do you use signs, or how do we provide pedestrian barriers, how do you do median barriers, and all these things we have kind of use it depending on the type of intersection that you are trying to do. And also you have to think about what kind of traffic control should be there. Is it a roundabout? Is it a traffic signal? Or is it a stop sign? Depending on the volume of traffic and the type of road that you are. That what I mean by that is the hierarchical classification of the road. Is it an arterial? Is it a secondary road? Is it a local road? What type of road it is, you need to understand it, because the capacity varies based on the hierarchical classification of the roads and the usage that the road is for. Let's talk a little bit about, see, the engineering and the environment part we all can do. We can learn in the class, we can learn through our work, and also going into the site, and over time definitely we can do it. But the part that is still lagging is the education and the enforcement. Why I'm saying that is, yes, now India has got many highways, world-class highways. So the engineering and the environment part has been kind of conquered, but the education and the enforcement is very important. So hopefully that some part of this education part that we all can participate. I'll talk to you about it later. Now, let us come to the part deep. This is called the Driver Education and Enlightenment Program. What I want to tell to all the listeners is, yes, a good degree is very good to have, and to have a good job is very good. But how do you impart that knowledge to the wider audience? How do you make it more practical? See, this is where I thought about a lot, and after visiting several times to India, having got the basic degree from India, whatever I learned in the US is I had to be interpreted to the Indian education system, where I got my basic degree. But how do you give back something that you got? So then I thought, when I came for the 2011 to work for the National Highway Authority of India, the more and more I saw that there is a need for a driver education and enlightenment. That means to say is, we as individuals should learn, get educated ourselves about being courteous on the road and follow the traffic laws. And enlightenment in the sense is, can we impart that knowledge to other people so that we saving lives through education? That is the major goal of DEEP. I hope you all agree and play a part in trying to put some type of program in your local area so that you can help everybody. That's why I said the quality of life for your citizens. How can we improve the quality of life? Okay, that's a whole basis of Deep. So what am I trying to do is an attempt to change the attitude. The attitude of each person has to change. It's just like a raindrop. Each raindrops becomes a storm, right? So in the same way, if each of us could change our attitude, probably we'll have more users on the road who are orderly and courteous to each other. And we can create a new generation of children in the country who will, say, 20 years down the line, are more courteous, more obeying the traffic laws, and we somehow get our goal of minimizing the loss of life, which is very important. You know, a lot of people, more than 125,000 people are killed in India each year, which is not good. Like I said, 380 to 400 people dying every day is something you have to really give consideration to it. How can we allow this to happen? So we have to improve the quality of life for all citizens and somehow try to minimize the loss of life. How do we do that? Yes, it's a huge problem. How do I, one person, go and do anything? It's not that. Like-minded people can join together and do it. You have to be proactive, and the thing is, you are trying to change the behavior that's been kind of here for a long time, not jaywalking, not obeying the traffic laws and all these things. First thing is we have to change ourselves and to develop road safety programs. I know the NHAI has this in every January, they have road safety week. Along with that, if each engineering college and each of the schools in your local area can have a road safety week in January and July of each year, we can certainly, over a period of 5-10 years, we can certainly make improvements to the local area and improve the quality of life. That's the objective of this Deep program. And benefits, I mean, I am a believer of Swami Vivekananda's statements: arise, awake, stop not until your goal is achieved. You got to have perseverance in what you believe in and try to do something to your community. Yes, like I said, getting your engineering degree and having a nice job and whatever plus you want to have in your life is great. But what did you give in return to the community from which you got something? Okay, that's the way to look at it. And how can we make it better? And more important, as I say in the last one, saving lives to keep dreams alive. The reason I say that is a lot of children are killed. About 6 to 7 are killed each day. That means what is happening? Their dreams, whether he wanted to be a doctor, whether he wanted to be an engineer, he wanted to be a pilot, whatever dreams they had is just squashed by an accident, by not designing, as Mr. Nadkari, your minister, said, speedy. Why do we have speeding? Why don't we design proper roads? Why don't we enforce? Why don't we educate our population? So you got to start thinking in those lines, saving lives to keep dreams alive. Okay. And with respect to this, I must say thanks to Ratnakar Reddy, who is the founder of this KBR Foundation. I wanted an outlet in India so that we can spread the word of Deep and also take this KBR Foundation's help in order to somehow able to spread the word about traffic management and road safety, particularly to children from 1st grade to the 12th grade. And this is KBR's foundation's objectives, what they want to do. But they have agreed to work with me, with our foundation, and do it. And most important that you should realize is, with your knowledge of transportation engineering, we should make sure that no child should lose their life or suffer a serious injury due to road or other accidents. So we need to understand the concept. We need to implement them on the road and make sure that no life is lost, at least minimize the loss of life. So how do we do that? Most important is getting the students and children's attention. You know that children have very small attention span. So how do we make it better? They run across the road. That's why we talked about pedestrian barriers at major intersections. They don't seem to realize. They chase each other and they spill over to the road. Somebody hits, the child is dead. So that's one of the reasons we have to have pedestrian barriers at major intersections. And schools, as a school get into the, be there like that. There should be some kind of a barrier so they don't come right across from the gate into the road, but they have to take a little sideways right or left turn in order to get into the main street. So some improvements have to be made at the school zones. What is important is we are responsible and consider them as precious cargo. Children from any family, we should consider them as precious cargo. It doesn't matter whose child it is. And we need their attention to make sure they pay attention. So it is our responsibility to make sure they pay the attention. And we totally can, I completely understand that nobody can control the motorists already on the road, right? We can't do much about it, but we can make our children and students aware of the dangers that are there on the road and how can we contribute to the local community to make it better. Even designing of the bus stops. Where do children cross into stand at the bus stop? What is the requirement for a school bus when it comes to pick up students? What are these auto rickshaws doing with 10 kids in them? Why nobody is objecting to that? So some way we have to make the community aware of it, the dangers of using our road facilities. And we have to emphasize that all road crossings, bus, car, motorcycle, everything should be done. But more important, each school should provide some kind of barriers so that the children are made to go through them, not go into the main streets or to any kind of roads they are subjected to go through. And also when they come into the school, there are barriers that stop any speeding car, any other vehicle, delivery vehicles, or people on motorcycles and cycles coming into the school. We have to provide proper parking for them and signs for them so that the children are kept safe. How many times we have heard that a child was hit by a motorcycle or a cycle in a school zone? And we also have to teach the basic rules, as most of you are in the engineering college now. But the important thing, I just put them all here, is talk to children. That is the most important thing. We should go and talk to children. And I'll show you in one example. I went to a school from first grade to the 12th grade in Sargur, about 50 kilometers south of Mysore. And I gave a talk on the road safety to them. And you can see that I'll show you the things that the children wrote on the safety week. They do understand it. The important thing is the message has to be continuously spread through the school system. And you're teaching to them about not using the headphones on the roads, strangers offering rides, asking for help, leaving school, defense safety, all these things. We just think that they know it, but the important that we as volunteers help them through Deep and KBR Foundation, and whatever your school wishes to do with regard to the program, you should certainly put some effort in that area, at least to give back something to your local community. And advice to children on bike riding. Most people ride bikes without any helmets, but you know that the first thing, the heaviest part of your body is your head, and naturally with gravity, it's going to hit the ground, and most people have lost their life or lost their mind, as you can say it. So we do need to make sure that the children do wear the helmets and also follow the road signs. and watching the car doors open and using hand signals, and also bright colored. For example, 3M has stickers for the road signs which shine when the light falls on it. So same thing can be provided to the back of the children's bicycles. If they leave in winter time, when the light goes down much faster than in summer, so the bicycles can be seen as they ride home. So all these little things will help in saving lives. And community volunteer, this is what I'm hoping for. Most of you are listening, and I hope you will come forward to help in developing DEEP, as well as work with the KBR Foundation in spreading the word that how we can make road safety for all people and improve the quality of life. And since you're all engineering students, I thought that you maybe some of you might have come across this PU theory, that is the perception, intellection, emotion, and volition. What really happens in you before you comprehend that you have to put your brakes or take some kind of an action. You got the thinking time and the braking time. You have got two distances that you need to deal with. And apart from that, if it happens to be a wet surface, it even adds to the problem. So speeding does make a big difference when you think of the PU theory. Okay, so you need to understand the concept of PU theory and how it really impacts speeding and stopping. And this just gives you an example of what happens if you're traveling at 20 miles per hour, or even it's given both in kilometers for you to understand the thinking and the braking distance. As you can see, it's not easy if somebody is not following the law and driving at very high speed in a 20-mile zone. If somebody is driving at 60 miles per hour, he needs almost 55 plus 80 meters to almost 175 feet to stop, which he's not going to have. If a school child just crosses across the road, he has no chance of stopping. He's definitely going to hit the child. On top of that, you can also see the impact of speed. I'm also talking to you directly here. Most of you drive cars, most of you drive scooters, most of you drive motorcycles. Understand it that if you hit somebody at 32 kilometers, that is 20 miles per hour, it's 5% of the people are just affected. That means they will, because of a bad luck or something, they may die. But at 48 kilometers per hour, 30 miles per hour, the chances are very less. 45% of the people die. And at 40 miles per hour or 64 kilometers, you are 85% of the time, it's a fatal accident. You need to understand it as engineering student. Is it necessary to go fast on open roads or in roads and urban roads where your excess speed can cause a fatal accident? So you need to change your attitude in driving and obeying the traffic laws of your country. So, and what I am trying to do here is to tell you through DEEP is we need to go and try to put some signs, safe school zone signs, and whatever signs we can contribute and make improvement at the nearest school, so that the children are safer in crossing the roads and they come to school, and we should make sure that they go back home. And providing different traffic calming plus different signs at the schools. Whatever the IRC code tells you, you can use those signs. This is only an example. And writing on the road, if you got a major secondary road or a major road near the school, and that's where the school is located, it's better to put things on the road, the school zones, slow down, so that, and also putting road humps, so that you can reduce the speed, and also putting the proper signs. So these are all fundraising element. What I mean to say is, if fortunately we all work towards one objective of trying to improve the local area, the quality of life for people. We can raise funds to make some changes working with the local agencies and local police department, and putting signs for speed limit at school, and also the flashing red light so that they know that the school is nearby, and working with the local police so that they teach the children what are the road laws and what they are supposed to do in crossing the road. And more important, road and traffic safety week should be held, as I said, in January and July. Hope most of you agree with that. Only once in a year is not enough, so we want to bring back this way. We will be encouraging the children to learn and also participate in road safety. Hold safety week. I'm not going to just read through it, but most important, spread the safety aspect to the community. That's the more important thing to have. And as I said, when I went to this school south of Mysore, 50 kilometers from Mysore, it's a rural area, believe me or not. It's a rural area, not even an urban area. But the children, after listening to the safety talk, and also made them to participate in an essay and asked them to write what they think of the road safety, this is all they came up with, which makes a lot of sense. This is the Viveka School of Excellence in Sargur. So the children from 1 to 12th grade, they came up with various ideas of how they would like to see that road safety is improved in their school. And they do understand, as you can read through the slide. And what are the next steps as we are coming almost close to my talk? More important is set up goals to improve the school zone area, develop brochures for distribution to students and parents, and provide traffic calming devices such as we saw that various things, the signs, the writing on the roads, providing helmets for the children, and improving their school area, within the school area, the channelization of traffic that is coming in and out of the school, and trying to do the best and try to make it a regular safety week in January and July. In January, as I said, the National Highway Authority of India does it. So if you can find the local NHA office, you can work with them, cooperate with them, and provide some benefit to the schools. And 3M is one great people who will certainly help you with getting signs, some free signs, as well as some stickers that can be attached to the back of the bicycle, which will shine during night time. And more important is, apart from learning the traffic management and the road safety aspects and all this, now how do I make use of it outside? And the more you have to work together and have a sense of community. For having got the education and everything, try to do something, as John F. Kennedy said, always don't look at what the country can do for you, what you can do to the country. In this case, you can say that, what can I do for my community? So try to have this community togetherness and try to do something for the schools, and let us try to create a new generation of children, say 10, 20 years from now. If you put our efforts, we can create the new generation of children who are more courteous and disciplined on the road. And what I will tell all of you who are listening is, time management is very important. It's very important in your life. I know you're all in college now, but always manage your time. Leave sooner, drive slower, leave longer. There is no point in saying sorry at the end of the day to your parents or to anybody for that matter. There is no point in saying sorry. So manage your time, leave sooner, drive slower, leave longer. Okay. So more important thing is, you should have the inclination to change your attitude. Then only you can change the attitude of others. Okay. So with that, I say thank you to all of you for patiently listening to me. And our request is, you try to provide some assistance in creating this new generation of children to be courteous and disciplined. And you also try to change your attitude if you are, using vehicles. Try to follow the traffic laws. And to be honest with you, wearing the seat belt is very good for you. And I hope most of you know the first law of Newton, inertia. So if you are in the car, you are traveling at the speed of the car. Most people don't even seem to understand that. If you're traveling at 60 miles per hour in a car, your body is traveling at 60 miles per hour. That's why you get killed when you hit something. Okay. So, and this is just information for you guys. You can always contact us and we'll be more than happy, not only for Deep, even with regard to the subject matter that you listen today. Certainly is here to help you guys. Okay. And I'm very happy that I was given this opportunity. And the most interesting to have a smile on our face. We have to deal with everything that comes in our way, like these cows stopping the road. So of course we get delayed, but there are many obstacles we need to foresee. So with that, I will leave you for question and answer. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Excellent, excellent section, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your nice elaborative section, uh, focusing more importantly on road safety and education towards this road safety for younger generations. So we request the audience to post their questions or unmute and talk. The session is open for queries, so we request the audience to post your questions or you can talk with the expert.
Hello, sir. Sir,
Hi.
sir, I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are audible. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Firstly, I would like to say that the initiative what you have taken is pretty much very useful, sir. And as a final year student of the same college, which is organizing this program, I feel very privileged and honored to be a part of this, sir. And we the students want to volunteer and take part in your initiative, sir. And also for the KBR Foundation too, sir. And we believe that students might be the future of any nation, and if we take right initiatives as you have suggested, sir, definitely we can bring a change in the society, maybe not today but maybe in future, sir. Thank you so much for such an excellent presentation, and the motivation you have given us is very high, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. As I said, I started doing this only because I felt that having got the basic education in India, without India having given me the basic education, I would not have traveled to the US or to Canada to get my degrees. So one has to feel that we have to give back something to the community. That's very important. So as I said, as rainfall, it is each drop that counts, then it becomes a storm. So each of us put our effort, and not to get discouraged at any point of the time, we will be able to do a good job and we can do it. If it's actually in a sense, all these traffic management or road improvements, you don't have to wait for a smart city to come and drop money on you. You guys can use it in your transportation planning, traffic engineering, highway engineering, highway engineering and ITS classes, traffic engineering class, all these classes. You can have your own paper presentation for by selecting major intersections and what is being done there, what was there before, what can we do to improve it, what are the problems there. You can go and meet the agencies, and that is the best way. And as you said, yes, being in the final year, as I said, yes, a degree is very important to all of you, and having a good job is also important, but also think about what can I do next. So that way you get practical experience, and also you get to meet people who are like-minded. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's okay if you don't have any questions, that is fine. They can always, they have all the contact information. They can always write to us. As I said, you kindly send me the full address so I could send you the books that you can put in the library, so everybody can read and learn about basic traffic engineering. Okay. So, and also, like I said, you can kind of restructure your classes on transportation planning, traffic engineering, highway engineering, all these things in such a way that there are practical elements that they can do locally and learn from it. And as NHAI is building so many highways, a real experience going into the field wherever they're building and trying to learn about what is going on there with regard to the topography, surveys and traffic data collection and all these other elements that go into making an highway. It will be more practical. More practical is necessary in teaching the traffic transportation engineering. There's no point in just teaching theoretical aspects of it in the class. It is of no use, to be honest with you. So it's like a surgeon knowing everything but doesn't know how to cut. So that's what happens. Okay. So
Obviously, sir, we'll do this. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, sir, for your nice presentation.
I said it was a great opportunity. I am glad that it is a engineering college for women. I encourage every one of them to be a great engineer and contribute greatly to the prosperity of India. Okay, and also your local state. Okay, take care and
Thank you
good
very
night.
much, sir.
Yeah, good. Have a great day, every one of you. Okay, have a wonderful day. Thank you.
As you
Bye.
said, we will once again meet in the next week, sir.
No, definitely. Next week you set it up. I will certainly talk on a very different subject if you want. Okay, we can talk about that the manual that will help them to learn even more about what is in this field of transportation. What are the different areas of transportation they can listen to? They can do. So it's not just one element. There are many elements. One can become an expert by being a civil engineer and then branching out to transportation engineering. Okay, there are many hundreds of jobs all across the world, and also master's degree. There are many things that could be done. Okay, so
There is one question.
I'll certainly put my effort. Okay,
sir, there is a question in the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Or should I help you?
Hello.
Sir, there is a question in the chat. Should I help you, or are you able to see?
Yeah, I don't see anything. I didn't see it. Can you just read it? That's the best thing to do.
Yes. Someone is asking to comment on lane separation can reduce road accident and how to implement in mixed traffic.
Okay. Lane designation is very important because, first of all, let us take the local conditions. Okay, let us try to understand. That's what I say. We're going to the site, the local conditions. Car to India is from the last 20 years. Okay, 20 at the most 25 years. Okay, at the most, the way the cars came into India. After the 2000, it is tremendously, the volume of cars have increased and everybody has started driving. But getting a license for you is kind of, I won't say it's too easy, but you do get your license. But as I talked about, the enforcement part of it is lacking. So what happens is without channelizations and things like that at the intersection, you don't know who is going where because they are not learned the art of driving. In the sense is they don't put the signal if they're going left, they don't put the signal if they're going right. But 90% of the roads in India do not have any channelization. You all are only in through lanes and you are still waiting in the through lane to make your left turns. So channelization is very important, which clearly tells you where this particular person in front of you is going so that you can accelerate or decelerate or change your lane, knowing what is happening by if they put the signal and if there's a left turn pocket, they can play. And most of the places, right turns always come with the through lane. Right turns come with the through lane. But if the volume of right turns are heavy, then you may have to provide a right turn channel so that you don't want to hold the capacity of the through lanes. So the same thing with left turns also. If there is heavy left turns or a number of left turns are there, you need to provide a left turn channel. How does it help? It helps with the level of service. When you talk about level of service, the different lanes that you have designated lanes that you have provided improve the quality of level of service. The level of service run from A to F, as you may know it or not, but it is from A to F for a signalized intersection. Same way for even for the intersection capacity utilization, which can be done by hand by knowing the capacity of each lane and the number of turning lanes that are provided. That's turning lanes. When I say that is the left turns and the right turn lanes. So level of service runs from A to F. If you don't have any channelization and if you have a large volume of traffic, naturally the level of service will be D or E or even F for that matter. But with channelization, you can improve the level of service to B or C depending on the volume of traffic and other condition. If it is signalized intersection or stop sign or yield sign, whatever it is, and free right turns. I mean, for you in India, it will be free left turns. So all these channelization is a very important element in doing. If you see some of the examples, again, hopefully the what do you call the slides will be shared with you guys presentation, so you can see how the intersection design is the first thing that you got to do, then do the pedestrian treatment, then the signal control that you have to do for the intersection. Hope it my answer helps you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will end the session now. We'll meet some other time now. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day.
Okay.
Good night.
Take care. Bye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye, sir. So I request the participants to post your feedback using the link provided in the chat. And once again, thank you for all your presence.